It's hard to put into words what it feels like to see your world collapse in a single moment. Picture this. It's the morning of my son Elijah's wedding, a day I'd spent months planning to be perfect. The roses I'd nurtured in our Atlanta garden were blooming. The string lights I checked a dozen times glowed just right, and 300 guests were set to celebrate love. But just hours before the vows, I walked into my living room and saw my husband of 25 years, Franklin, locked in a passionate embrace with Elijah's fiancée, Madison. My heart stopped. Rage burned through me, and I was ready to tear the house apart. Then I saw a shadow in the hallway. It was Elijah, my boy, his face like stone. "Mom," he whispered, "I already know. And it's worse than you think. This is my story, and I'm Simone Whitfield, a woman who uncovered a web of lies so deep it shattered my family, but also set me free. Let's go back to that morning in Atlanta." I woke at 5 a.m., sitting in my home office, staring at spreadsheets for my small CPA firm. Numbers are my thing. I've always been the steady one, keeping the bills paid, remembering Elijah's dental appointments, making sure our life ran smoothly. Franklin was the charmer, the life of every party, the man everyone loved. For 25 years, I was his rock, and I thought that was enough. But lately, something felt off. He'd go quiet when I walked into a room, tilt his phone away, brush off my questions with that easy smile. "Just work, honey," he'd say, but it didn't feel right. I told myself it was nothing. You don't throw away a quarter century over a hunch, do you? That morning, Elijah came into my office, coffee mug in hand, looking like he hadn't slept. He's 23, with my practical streak but his father's handsome face. "Mom, you've been up for hours," he said, sitting on my desk. "The wedding's not till 4. I tried to smile, said I just wanted everything perfect for him. But then he asked, "Do you think Madison really loves me?" My stomach dropped. Madison, his fiancée, was a 27-year-old architect, beautiful and ambitious, from a wealthy Atlanta family. She seemed perfect for Elijah, but I'd seen her eyes wander when he spoke, her phone glued to her hand at family dinners. "Why ask that, honey?" I said, my voice shaky. He stared into his coffee. "Sometimes she looks right through me, like I'm just a step in her perfect plan. And she's been spending so much time with Dad. She says he's mentoring her, but..." He paused, then whispered, "I think she's in love with him." His words hit me like a freight train. I noticed it too. Franklin's eyes following Madison, how he jumped to help with her coat, how he knew her coffee order, 2 sugars, a splash of milk. I'd told myself it was fatherly, but Elijah's pain mirrored the doubts I'd buried. Before I could say more, Franklin swept in, all charm, dressed sharp as always. "My 2 favorite people," he said, but his smile felt forced. "Madison's coming at 10 to go over seating charts. Her parents can't sit near Uncle James after last Christmas." Elijah's jaw clenched. "Of course," he said, his voice flat. "Can't have the wrong people together." The air was thick with tension. I knew something was wrong. Deep in my soul, I canceled a caterer call I'd planned for weeks, claiming a family emergency. It was a lie. I couldn't shake Elijah's words or the dread Franklin's fake cheer stirred in me. At 10 a.m., Madison's white BMW pulled into our driveway. I watched from the kitchen window, my heart pounding so loud I could hear it. She stepped out, flawless in jeans and a blouse, walking to our door like she owned the place. I slipped out the back, crept low behind the hydrangea bushes I'd planted, feeling like a fool spying in my own home. Through the living room window, I saw them by the fireplace, where our family photos sat. Franklin poured her a drink, his hand on her lower back lingering too long. Then they kissed, deep and hungry, on the sofa where I'd read Elijah bedtime stories. My vision blurred, my nails dug into my palms. I was ready to storm in, to scream until my lungs gave out. But then I saw Elijah in the upstairs hallway, watching them too, his face pale but hard. He slipped outside, grabbed my arm. "Mom, don't," he whispered. "Not yet. I've known for weeks. It's worse than you think." We crouched behind those hydrangeas, my beautiful flowers now hiding our family's ruin. Elijah showed me his phone, his hands shaking. "I hired a private investigator," he said. "Aunt Aisha, my sister, a retired cop turned PI." The photos were damning. Franklin and Madison at the St. Regis Atlanta, leaving hotel rooms disheveled, dining in dark restaurants, holding hands in parking lots. 17 occasions, months of lies. I needed proof, Elijah said, his voice breaking. I wanted to give them enough rope to hang themselves. My world collapsed. This wasn't a fling, it was a double life. Elijah's plan was cold and clear. We exposed them at the wedding in front of everyone, with evidence they can't deny. Public humiliation, Mom. Total destruction. I nodded, my pain turning to steel. The wife who trusted, who forgave, was gone. That night, Aisha called with more. She'd traced Franklin's financials. $60,000 drained from our retirement fund. My signatures forged on loans, spent on hotel rooms, dinners, a $15,000 Cartier necklace for Madison. But the worst came next. Franklin had a 15-year-old daughter, Zoe, with another woman, Nicole Jenkins. For 15 years, he'd siphoned our money to fund a secret family. Aisha got a DNA test using his toothbrush, 99.999% probability. I sat in my office staring at that report, 25 years of lies crushing my chest. My marriage wasn't just broken. It was a fraud from the start. Madison wasn't innocent either. Aisha found she'd embezzled $200,000 from her law firm, faking invoices, funneling money Toby Franklin gifts, a $10,000 watch, that necklace. She'd even conned him, diverting his sure-thing real estate investments to her secret account. It was a sick circle. Franklin stealing from me, Madison stealing from her firm and him. The wedding became our battleground. I prepared divorce papers, signed and notarized, tucked in my purse with a flash drive of Aisha's evidence. Aisha, disguised as catering staff, rigged a projection screen meant for Elijah's baby photos to show their betrayal. We'd expose them in front of 300 guests, friends, family, Madison's parents, a federal judge, and a charity board matron. The wedding day felt like a nightmare I couldn't wake from. I played the happy mother, smiling through the pain, my heart screaming. Franklin was in his element, charming guests, accepting congratulations like a king. Madison glowed in her white lace gown, every inch the perfect bride. Elijah stood at the altar, his face a mask, his hand steady as he took hers. The officiant's words about love and fidelity cut like knives. I sat beside Franklin, his hand on mine, his touch making my skin crawl. Madison's eyes met his, a quick flash of shared secrets, like they thought they'd already won. Elijah glanced at me, a subtle nod. It was time. The officiant said, "If anyone has reason this marriage should not proceed, speak now or forever. Hold your peace." I stood, my heart hammering so hard I thought it'd burst. The crowd gasped, 300 pairs of eyes on me. Franklin grabbed my arm, hissing, "Simone, sit down. You're making a scene." I shook him off, my voice steady as I said, "I have a reason. This marriage is built on lies." I pressed the remote, and the screen lit up, a photo of Franklin and Madison kissing in our living room, timestamp clear. The crowd erupted, screams, gasps, chairs scraping. Madison's smile turned to horror. Her father, Judge Ellington, stood, booming, "Mrs. Whitfield, what is this?" I faced him unflinching. "Your daughter is marrying my son under false pretenses. Judge, everyone deserves the truth." The screen flashed more photos. Hotel rendezvous, restaurant dates, stolen moments. Then the financials, bank statements, forged loan signatures, a receipt for the $15,000 necklace Madison wore at her bachelorette party. I spoke over the chaos. My husband stole $60,000 from our retirement to fund his affair with Madison, the woman my son was about to marry. But she's no victim. She embezzled $200,000 from her law firm to buy him gifts, stealing from her partners and even from him. Madison's colleagues in the crowd turned furious. Her parents frozen in shock, then the final blow. The screen showed the DNA test, probability of paternity, 99.99%, in bold, next to a photo of Zoe, a 15-year-old with Franklin's eyes. "This is Zoe Jenkins," I said, my voice shaking with 15 years of pain. "Franklin's daughter, hidden from me and Elijah her entire life. He's been funding her with our money, lying for over a decade." The silence was deafening. Madison collapsed, sobbing in her gown, lace pooling like a broken dream. Franklin bolted, shoving through guests, knocking over champagne glasses. But Aisha was waiting. In her catering uniform, she stepped from behind an oak tree and tripped him. He hit the lawn hard, his suit ruined. "Going somewhere, Frankie?" she said, cool as ice. Police moved through the crowd, not for Franklin. His fraud was a civil matter, but for Madison. "Madison Ellington, you're under arrest for embezzlement and wire fraud," an officer said, cuffing her as her mother wailed and her father stood paralyzed. The handcuffs clicked like a gunshot. Madison's gown trailed as she was led to a patrol car, photographers' flashes capturing her fall. The crowd buzzed, phones recording, whispers of homewrecker and thief following her. Franklin, questioned and released, fled in his car, leaving me and Elijah behind. Elijah wrapped an arm around me as the chaos swirled. "It's over, Mom," he whispered. I felt the weight lift. In my purse were divorce papers and a flash drive of evidence. My freedom. The aftermath was brutal. The story went viral. "Wedding day scandal," headlines screamed. Hashtags like Dodge Atlanta wedding disaster trending for weeks. My CPA firm took a hit, clients slipping away from the notoriety. I stopped answering calls, barely left the house. But I pushed forward, filing for divorce the next day. With Aisha's evidence, Franklin didn't fight. I got the house in compensation for the $60,000 he stole. It wasn't a win, just restitution for a stolen future. Madison took a plea deal, 2 years in prison, full restitution to her firm. Her family's reputation, her father's judgeship, her mother's charity work crumbled. Franklin lost his job, his friends, and moved into a cheap apartment. A shadow of himself, then came Zoe. 2 weeks after the wedding, her mother Nicole wrote to me apologizing, saying Zoe learned the truth from the news and wanted to meet us. I sat with that letter for days, torn. Zoe was Franklin's betrayal in human form, but she was also an innocent. Elijah insisted, "She's my sister, Mom. She deserves to know us." We met at a coffee shop halfway between our towns. My hands shook, shredding a napkin. When Nicole and Zoe walked in, my breath caught. Zoe had Franklin's eyes, dark and sharp, and clutched a book like a shield, shy and scared. Nicole looked tired, weighed down by secrets. Elijah broke the ice, asking Zoe about her book, her school, treating her like a sister. I watched, my heart softening. Zoe wasn't my pain. She was a victim. Like us, over months, we built something new. Zoe came for coffee, then lunches, then Sunday dinners. She and Elijah bonded over old movies and spicy food, texting like siblings. I grew to love her quiet humor, her kindness, feeling protective of this girl who'd been hidden away. A year later, I sold our family home, its garden full of ghosts, and bought a cozy town home, a fresh start. My firm slowly recovered as clients returned. Elijah, after therapy to heal from the betrayal, left his corporate job to study landscape architecture, shaping beauty from earth and stone. He started dating a librarian, a kind woman who looked at him like he was her world. Our family, once shattered, grew smaller but stronger, built on truth. One evening, a year after that ruined wedding, Franklin showed up at my door. He looked older, grayer, his charm gone, replaced by weariness. He said he was in therapy, trying to understand why he'd done it all. "I'm sorry," he said, tears in his eyes. "For Madison, for Zoe, for everything." I listened, surprised I believed him. "I forgive you," I said, meaning it. "Not for you, but for me. I can't carry the anger anymore. But I'll never trust you again. We're done." He nodded, defeated, and left. I stood in my quiet home, feeling lighter than I had in years. That night, I thought of the woman I was, crouched behind those hydrangeas, broken and lost. I wish I could tell her it'd be okay, that the pain wasn't the end. The family I thought I had was a lie, shattered in that garden under the weight of truth. But with Elijah and Zoe, I built something real, imperfect, fragile, but honest. The betrayal took everything, but it gave me something too. A new life, a new family, and a strength I never knew I had. I wasn't just a survivor, I was a creator, building a future where truth was my foundation. If you've ever faced a betrayal that turned your world upside down, or if my story touched you, please share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Where are you listening from today? Drop your city, hit the like button, and comment 1 to show you're with me. Your support means everything. If you want more stories of courage and truth, subscribe and join me for the next one. Thank you for listening, and be kind to yourselves.